Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Break Thru U podcast. Yes, we are excited to have the one and the only Jim Morris. We're going to hear a lot from him today, and also our host, Ashley Gaylor. We're missing Alex Okagu, but we are ready to rock and roll today. We're super excited to have Jim Morris with us. And of course, here on the Break Thru U podcast, we are focusing on mindset, right? If we can align the mind, the body will follow. A lot of our challenges are 90% mind, 10% body, but we grind and hustle and build skill sets, do the things that we don't want to do because those are the things that are going to help us become successful. And so without any further ado, Jim, welcome to the Break Thru U podcast. Ashley, I'm tossing it to you. We're going to have a good time, just have some good conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thrilled that Jim is on. Folks that probably have heard Jim's name out there. He's one of the top realtors in Nashville with the Coupon Group of Bradford Real Estate, and also president of Impact Social Events. And I will just say, personally, for my business, Impact Social Events have been pivotal to the success of my business this year. If folks don't know about Impact, or if they're not going, they need to go and they need to check out what Jim's doing over there, because he's doing a fantastic job connecting the community, connecting businesses in the community. No matter what you do, you can find a place at Impact. So Jim, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and talk about what you're doing?
Wonderful. Well, first and foremost, gentlemen, thank you for having me today. You guys are doing a great thing with the podcast, and just super excited to connect and give everybody a little bit of information about myself. So I've been living in Nashville for 4.5 years, moved originally from Boston, Massachusetts, came here for a position and fell absolutely in love with Nashville. So as you guys know, you're going to see me around town enjoying what Nashville has to offer. And one of the things that I wanted to do was be able to lean into that as far as getting people to move here, finding their dream home, and then also, activating some of these cool venues and what's happening in Nashville by bringing the community together through Impact Social Events. So it's been a long 4.5 years in Nashville. It's been a long journey to get here, but I'm in a position where, I love what I do every day, and I love meeting people. And, both of these avenues that help support my family have given me that opportunity to do so. So very thankful for that.
Yeah, no, that's terrific. And, I see everything that you're doing, especially with Impact. The businesses that we're all in, we network for a living, right? If you will, we need to meet people. And, and I think that you saw the value in networking and took it a step above what most networking events are, right? I think that you probably don't have this trademark, or you might, but the no business card zone. I mean, I love that. You know what I mean? It's kind of the idea is, most of the times you're at a networking event, you shake hands, you hand somebody a card, and you go on to the next person. But this way, it gives you an opportunity to have a conversation with someone and find out first, what are your interests? You're making a connection on a level above business, and then see where it goes from there. So
exactly.
Hey, Jim. So I have a question.
Sure.
So one of the benefits of having these networking groups across Nashville is that you get to experience some of the best dining places, or some of the best places to have these networking groups. What are like one of the number one or number two top places, unique places that you've had Impact Social at?
Yeah, great question. So, recently, this past month, we had it at the Virgin Hotel Speakeasy, and that's a members only club. A lot of people didn't know about it. A lot of people wouldn't have that desire to, pay the amount annually to be part of that, right? So that's probably one of the coolest ones, this past recent event, where all the attendees got to experience something that they either didn't even know existed, or, wouldn't be in a financial situation to be in that space and see that space.
So what was it? What was it like? What was it that they got the experience? What made it unique?
So, you had to have a door code to get in. It's the back door of the Virgin Hotel, right? So there's some suspense with that, right? There's some excitement that rolls around there. You walk down this beautiful hallway and you take a right, and it's this very intimate, small bar area, very personable, great cocktails. And then also just the layout and the atmosphere. Ashley, I mean, I'm sure you enjoyed it the other night. But they just have a uniqueness. It's very music oriented, but it's also very casual and boutique, and it's just a cool spot. It's just a cool spot for sure.
There's so many places like that here in Nashville that that are just, I don't want to say like hole in the walls, but places that are like, you just like trip and you fall into. It's crazy what Nashville has to offer. There's so much that Nashville has to offer that you can go network. I know Ashley network. Both of you network every day. You can network every night and still probably not hit everything that Nashville has to offer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The place I've been to, I believe, every one of Jim's events since he started doing it. Maybe I missed a couple, but I try to attend them all. The place was incredible. You walk in, there's these plush velvet couches with an intimate little stage set up, a fireplace. I mean, it was a really cool spot. I enjoyed that. And he had a couple great. I think you've done the rooftop at the Virgin Hotels.
Yep.
I think you've done the rooftop at the Hampton Social. So he's had some pretty cool spots for these events.
How do you do this, Jim? You just walk up to the manager and say, "Hey, I want to do a networking event here," and they're like, "Oh yeah, definitely. Let me roll the red carpet out for you."
Anything I do starts with building a friendship and relationship, right? So hence the network not normal, hence the, come to these events, look for friends, put great people in the room, great things happen, right? So building that relationship, that rapport, and really understanding how I can facilitate and assist a property, right? It's not so much what can I gain, what can you give me? It's more so, hey, we can do this for you. Is this of interest? Is there any problems you're looking to solve, right? Building that relationship, and supporting those venues and the management staff that allows us to have these events at the venues, it is something that I think has grown to be the success behind consistent, great, unique experiences through their venues.
Yeah, and I mean, you're drawing attention to the community, as well, and it's going to help these guys out at the venues you have. Maybe somebody never been there before, and they're like, "Man, I'm definitely coming back here." So it helps the business as well. So it's just, like breakthrough mindsets. It's the same way with business. Anything that draws attention to the business world where people, can thrive, and then, one of your events are one of those segues to that, to introduce someone to a cool spot like the Virgin. I didn't know it was there. I would have never have been to that place unless I got an invite somewhere or I didn't attend your event. So it was really cool.
And, one of the things too, with offering that is, at the end of the day, from our data that we've collected over the year and a half, that we've had impact, we took a random survey about half of the attendees, and 79% of all the attendees, we took half of them, 79% of that half in a survey answered that they have not been to the venue of the events. So there is data that supports the reality of, yes, we are bringing people that have not been here before. And as a community, I want to benefit everybody involved, right? Let's benefit the attendees by giving them a great experience. Let's benefit the venue by giving them exposure and great reviews and, building rapport with the attendees and the employees. And at the end of the day, everybody wins,
Yeah, that's incredible. So So, and then also you are the real estate over there. You guys, you got a great group of guys you work with at the Cooping Group. I mean, you guys, I've met every one of them, and everybody is such a genuine person. They're all down to earth, and everybody is experts and top of their field. So, you know, you guys. Did you guys just have a plan in mind when you started the group, and Jacob and yourself, and you guys got in there and you just knew the type of folks you were after? Or you just did you have a plan in mind when you guys were doing that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Jacob with his leadership and, you know, some of my entrepreneurship and building businesses and selling businesses over the years, you know, we really wanted to make something special where everybody sang the same song. Right? Mm-hmm. Music City, sing the same song. We're all in collaboration with ensuring that all our clients feel that we've got their back throughout that process, and we truly treat them like family. You know, and I think making sure that standard is upheld and the right fit and the right culture for the Cooping Group allows that success and that motivation in order to do so. So I think it was definitely planned. I think everything in life, you know, surprises you. And I think we got lucky with some of the members on our team. I mean, they're just wholesome, you know, giving back to the community, really just want to do their best, you know, for their family and also the families we serve on the real estate side.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible group of folks you guys got over there. So what you're such a busy guy. You got a lot going on. I know that, you know, you and I are personal friends as well, and you're always going. What do you do to pour into yourself, to relax? You know, what do you do if you have downtime? What do you like to do?
I think network.
Be around people.
Network.
My fiance, you know, is amazing, but she's always asking me whenever we have some time, you know, so who's coming with us? You know, who's coming over the house? And I'm like, I'm sorry, you know. I just love to be around people. But for me,
is your wife, let me ask you this. So is your wife the same way, or does she need her alone time?
She is, she networks a lot and she's out a lot, but her weekends are her alone time. Yeah. Where I'm just want to go 24/7, 7 days a week.
So then you're probably in yourself having to balance that out, because it's like, you know, for those of us that like to network so much, that we have to be cognizant of the fact that our spouse or significant other may network for their job or for other reasons. And then on the weekends, like, they just want their space. So for us that network so much, I think we probably have to say, you know what, as much as I hate to do this, I got to cut off the phone. I have to like spend that quality time. So how do you spend that quality time with your fiance?
Yeah. So we've had,
this is good for other people to know.
It is. And communication is key, right? I mean, communication in business, personal relationships, you know, and we have great communication. And I think for us, it's, you know, each weekend we're going to do something together, typically a hike on a Sunday morning, right?
Where do you hike?
No matter what's going on in the world, that appointment needs to stay on the calendar where it's just us and we've got that alone time, we've got that bonding time, and nothing can break that. I think setting that boundary is very important in the success of any relationship, and ensuring that you're communicating about that effectively. But as far as
you have to put that on your calendar,
it's on my calendar and it's reoccurring and it's not going anywhere.
Hey, if it ain't on the calendar, it ain't there, right?
It doesn't exist, you know?
Yeah.
So where's your favorite place to hike, Jim?
So we love chasing waterfalls, you know, Machine Falls, Virgin Falls, really just trying to get out there, trying to get a little out of the city, you know, hour and a half, 2 hours, and really just spending that time in nature and, you know, engaging in conversation amongst us and having removed that stress of when that that phone goes, beep in my pocket, I've got to pick it up, right? That phone goes in the backpack and I don't even hear it, right? So relieving that tension and that stress of business communication, which is in our world these days 24/7 almost, right? I mean, we all probably wake up to text messages. We all send text messages before bed. I mean, it's really just consistent
Social
across the
media
board.
notifications. A lot of social media notifications.
Yeah. On our end, my end especially, it's usually Josh emailing at all hours of the morning because he don't stop. I mean, they're 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm the next morning I'll call him and he's like, when did you get up? He's like, I ain't been to bed.
It's crazy. Like, I think it takes it's a certain type of person to, first of all, to network. Like, I think you either have it or you don't. Like, you have personality or you got a personality of a rock. Like, and so it can be very addicting, like networking and social media. Like, I think, like, if you're not careful, you can put networking and social media, like all the things, you can put that to where it becomes like your priority, and everything else, you lose sight of it. It can be so easy, and you have to really rein yourself in to give you that time to regroup, re-energize, reset your mind, renew your mind. And so all of that is so important. It's a good thing. I guess everything has a pluses and negatives on everything. It's just learning how to navigate it all.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, man. I mean, at the end of the day, balance is key and variety is the spice of life, right? So how do you balance those?
Yeah. And then when you grind and hustle, you got to grind and hustle, because it's not about the number of hours in the day. It's about how you extract the hours from the day and how you utilize that. Because it's all about, like, just managing your time and being strategic in everything that you do. So,
yeah, I think efficiency provides effectiveness, right? So, the more efficient you can be, the more effective you can be, because to your point, you can't kill yourself. You've got to take care of yourself. I don't know about you guys. I need sleep. That's one of my big things. I can't do the 3-4 hours of sleep because I just won't accomplish as much the next day. If you give me 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep, I can double my production the next day. And that took me, I learned that over the years. It took me some time. I probably learned that 5 years, 6 years ago, where it's not about, for me specifically, it's not about staying up and getting those extra emails out. It's about keeping that routine of sleep and doubling my production and effectiveness the next day.
Jim, what would you say to any young real estate agents or entrepreneurs that are trying to get started or are in the grind and they're just not know if they can make it? You've been successful as an entrepreneur and a businessman. What advice would you give to someone?
I think there's two type of people in the entrepreneurship world: the wantrepreneur and the entrepreneur. And
ooh, I like that. I've never heard that before.
I literally just got goosebumps when he said that. I'm like, man, Jim? I love that.
the wantrepreneur and the entrepreneur.
Yeah, love it. Love it.
So, there's a lot of people that want to be in entrepreneurship. They see the wins, right? They never really see the losses. And I've been there, and it takes time, and you've got to lose over and over to succeed, right? A failure is one step closer to success. So, my advice to those folks is, as a real estate agent, you are an entrepreneur. This is just like you start a tech company, right? Just because it's real estate and you may get some leads from some people and you already know some people looking to buy a house, that dries up quick. And to be successful in any business, let alone real estate, I think you need grit. And it's to pick yourself back up and to continue doing the things you know are going to work, but takes time to evolve and accomplish those goals, right? So in real estate specifically, you may have some friends, you may like real estate, you may sell some houses, but what are you doing day in, day out? Not, oh, I just closed a house, so I'm taking tomorrow off, but now you should be working 10 hours instead of 6 and doubling up on networking and meeting people and solving problems and figuring out how to continue to grow your business, right? I think entrepreneurs, they have a little bit of success and they want to act like Elon Musk, like they've just got endless money, right? And it's like, no, you just got a deal for, say, a contract because you're a consultant, or a contract for a real estate agent, or you just landed your biggest, account because you sell straws, right? That grit needs to come into full force the next day, and you need to act humbled as if you didn't sell anything yesterday. Because once you're not Elon Musk yet, you don't have infinite money. You can't leave early the next day because you got a contract yesterday, right? So I think it's that grit, and it's pushing out the BS and saying, I'm not at that level yet, although I feel really good. Let's celebrate this win and get back to work. And it takes hard work, and it takes long hours, and it takes failure, and it takes learning, and it takes always enhancing yourself. And if you do the right things, you put in the time, you put in the effort, and you have that grit, and you keep your mindset positive, things change, right? We're one conversation away from the best conversation of our lives.
That's it. That's what I always say. One conversation away.
And if you stop having conversations because you had a bad day, you had a bad financial month, you're just limiting the opportunity to be that one conversation away in the future.
Hey, Jim, pipeline, really quick. So a lot of people don't understand pipeline. Like what you were saying, they get a contract closed and they're like, let me take off a couple hours early or the next day. But it's like the pipeline, the difference between like a pipeline and a prospect is people think prospects are in their pipeline. And it's like, no, prospect and a pipeline are two different things. And you got to have a pipeline because if you're going to go on vacation, you got to know that things are still closing. So you don't have zero in your pipeline when you're on vacation. You know that when you get back, that money is still going to be there. But a lot of people have challenges and struggle with having that pipeline. And I think that's where we circle back around to the importance of networking events, the importance of putting yourself in a spot, in an environment to where you can cultivate prospects and then turn those prospects into pipeline, and then focus on building relationships. When relationships are high, sales pressure is low. And when sales pressure is high, relationships are low.
100%. 100%. I think
Come on, let me preach in here.
Let's go. I think you're right. And I think too, as far as understanding the difference and the realization is something where, you have a prospect and there's an interest and you get excited and you let your emotion take over, but that's one step away from this falling and failing. And it's one step away from it being successful. Right. So, at the end of the day, it's like that emotion and that initial interest is great, but you really got to get it to that pipeline and get them moving. And then your business is a little bit more consistent when that pipeline is full.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk, just like what we talk about here, it's 100% mindset, right? Just like you said, an entrepreneur between wantrepreneur. I love that. And it's about your mindset, because I believe that, we've all, as entrepreneurs, have fell into that at some point, right? I know that I did when I first started out on my journey. It was like, oh man, I got this done. It's like, I can relax tomorrow. Well, I learned real quick that if I'm not doing it every day, what got me to that point, one day off will set me back at least 2 weeks, right? Just one day, and it's not that I didn't, absolutely you need time off and, refresh, but taking it easy, letting up because you just got a big deal done, or you feel good about what happened today, and and putting your foot on the brakes and be like, oh, I'm out. I did my work for the week. I'm gonna, that exactly what you said. That will get you in trouble. And I can attest to that because I've been there, and it took me a while to learn that myself.
I was having a conversation with someone today, actually, and what they were telling me was, how things are tough and, yada, yada, yada. Not talking about themselves. We were just talking about, some folks that we both knew. And, what he said to me really resonated. He said, Jim, at the end of the day, it's called work because you got to work really freaking hard.
Yeah.
Right. And like, at the end of the day, that's what the definition of work is, right? It's like, yeah, it's tough and it's difficult, but like, that's why it's called work. And again, I think it goes back to that grit of, you've got to stay positive and you've got to have that right mindset. And in any business you do, there's going to be peaks and valleys. And anything you do in life, there's going to be peaks and valleys. And bet on yourself, right? Every time you've been, and I tell this to friends, family, people I just met, right? They're probably like, you're crazy because you don't really know me. But I'm like, at the end of the day, it's just so important to make sure that your mind's the right way and you're working as hard as you can to get through that. Because every time that you've been up against the wall, and I tell this to people, you're standing in front of me right now, you made it, right? Every tough situation, every time your back's up against the wall and you're panicking and the world's crumbling, you've made it through that, right? You're standing right in front of me. You're not out on the street. You're not hungry. You're enjoying yourself. And everybody in this world has gone through hardship. Everybody's gone through loss. Everybody's gone through poor decision-making. But we're still in this room standing here because we've got grit and we fought our way through it. So if you're feeling emotional and there's a dip in your business or things aren't working out as you planned, just remember, this is just another instance where your back's up against the wall and you fought your way out every single time.
Man, that's good stuff.
Hey, Jim, so let me ask you, a lot of times, Ashley, myself, Alex, our board with Break Thru Nashville, I think that the mindset is, and I think a lot of people get into this where it's like, okay, I'm a real estate agent or I'm in insurance or I'm in sales. And it's like, okay, I need a pipeline. I need to go out. I need to find people. And then if it's getting hard and it's a challenge, then for me, my mindset is like, and this is, I think, where you went with social impact. And I'm going to ask this question is like, a lot of times people don't really stop and just say, how can I create a community to where, yes, I'm going out to get the business, but yet I can create something, a Facebook page, an Instagram page, a networking group, and then hustle and work that networking group and grow it to create their own networking or BNI group, and then work a lot smarter and do that. And I think a lot of people, like you said, it's called work. How do you spell success? WORK. But a lot of people don't want to put in that time and that effort because something else may be more important. It's like, no, I got to work hard because I got to make money. So my question is, so you're in the real estate industry. How did social impact come about? Was it because you had that mindset of, hey, I'm a real estate agent and now I need to grow my network through relationships, and the way that I can grow it, work smarter, not harder, is through creating a networking group, a social community to where I can connect with more people at one event versus having to go out there and knock doors?
So it's actually an interesting story how Impact started. That is not why I started it, actually.
Okay.
But there's some similarities in what you said on why I did start it. So before real estate, before Impact was a thing, I owned a frozen beverage company, and I resigned from my corporate position to take the full-on entrepreneurial jump. Right. I had the company for about a year. Things were great. I said, okay, in order for me to get this to where it needs to be, I need to do this full time. I made the jump, and a week later, COVID hit. So in a panic, right? I said, okay, I just terminated my income source because it's COVID and restaurants are shut down and we sell frozen organic beverages and oh my gosh, right? So in that time, I started getting people together to network. Similar to what you said, I built this myself, but I was forced to build it myself because no other networking groups were occurring. And for me, I didn't want my business that I just resigned from a high-paying corporate job. I didn't want my business to suffer. So I had to network. I had to get people together. And COVID didn't allow it. So the major networks, they weren't doing networking events, right? The major companies that were. And then also, you know, the restaurants weren't allowing a lot of people to get together and you couldn't really socialize. So just, you know, we talked about grit earlier, but my grit was, I'm not going to let this ruin everything I've built and where my passion is. So instead of fighting everybody to do this, I'm going to do it myself. So to your point, yes. Now, the other piece was I didn't do it for real estate. I didn't do it for sales. I did it truly to just get a bunch of entrepreneurs together to sit down and go, okay, who do you know? What's your contacts and how can we share these contacts in order to help each other out? And the reason why I was allowed to get it done was because I had friends in the hospitality industry through networking and through a previous career that allowed us to gather in the back room of an area, right? Because everybody was so scared that the mayor was going to shut down their restaurant if more than 2, 3, 4 people were sitting together. So I was actually forced to do this myself because I didn't have any outlets to do it. And having the grit that I had, I wasn't going to just let my business fail. I was going to try to work through it as much as possible.
Yeah, it's a great story. It's a great story.
Love that. Sun's coming through my office and blinding me over here.
Yeah. So, what do you podcast? Do you listen to podcasts? What's your favorite podcast going on out there right now? Do you do any podcasts besides Break Throughs?
I do a little bit. You know, I think you guys are crushing it with some of your guests recently. So huge kudos to you. I do like to listen to Entrepreneur on Fire.
Entrepreneur on Fire.
Yeah. It's usually put that on in the shower, you know, get some 15 minutes of podcast, try to finish out the episode in the car and go from there.
So what does that consist of? Entrepreneur on Fire.
It's a gentleman that's an entrepreneur. I think he's from Maine. He's a Patriots fan like myself, so I was immediately hooked.
Yeah.
But he brings in guests and he talks about their journey. He talks about, you know, take these 3, 4, 5 action items. You've heard it from the best, you know, and then he also relates it back to how he implements a lot of this stuff in his business and his success. So you kind of see it from the master of their art, and then you see it from him on how he grew his ventures. And it's just, I think there's a lot of good information. It doesn't drag out. It's concise, and I've learned a lot from it. Yeah,
that's good. We always try to pick everybody's brain and see what podcast they're listening to, because we are avid podcast listeners, and you know, we always an ongoing education and learning process. So. And going back to the creating your own network because you weren't going to let your business fail. I mean, that's a pretty significant story. I mean, because it started with, you know, everybody knows what happened during COVID times. The restaurants would get shut down, they get fined, you know, if they have more than 8 people together. But the reach of those events is barring fast unless, you know, that people share stories with you about what has come from your events from attending those, right? So, you know, I met a gentleman a few months ago at one of your events. Well, turns out I introduced him to our group. He had some folks that wanted him to work for them. Now we've gotten them. And then one of the folks that he knew, got a job from somebody we knew, and then they're going to do help us with our event, and it's just snowballed just from me meeting someone like that. You know what I mean? And then just networking. So and that reach is like, I say a snowball because it was like this, and now it's like this, and it could have changed somebody's life. They ended up a job out of it, and just from me and David connecting one night at one of your events. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
And David is an incredible photographer. Have you seen his work,
Yeah.
Jim?
I have.
Incredible photographer. I'm talking like
Yeah.
insane photographer, like incredible. I got another thing. So I know we're getting down to the end here, and like I said, it's such a pleasure to have you on, Jim. You're doing so much great stuff. So I mean, you're busy, but it's purposeful. There's a purpose behind everything you do. I think some people are busy and they're just busy being busy. And it's like at the end of the day, it's like they have nothing to show for it. But when you're busy and you're purposeful and there's intent in everything that you do, I think that's a totally different thing. However, in your mind, what is the difference between networking and connecting? So it's like either you're connecting somebody, networking, or connecting others. What's the difference in your mind between networking and then connecting?
Well, I think networking is going out and meeting people and broadening, your contact list and who you interact with. I think connecting is understanding immediately when you are networking, how can you help that person and how can you do them a service opposed to asking for a service, right? Anytime I've ever connected someone and they've done business, at some point down the road, that comes back to me, whether it's wow, Jim took care of me, and I just saw a Facebook post that, his lawn guy didn't show up, right? And then they call me and they're like, hey, my guy's on the way to your house. What's your address? And it doesn't need to be all business, right? We're in a wholesome world. We're in a wholesome life where we talked about balance earlier. And it can be anything, right? It can be you introduced me to someone because you thought we'd be a good fit to date, and I became best friends with their cousin, right? Because I value friendships just as much as I value money. So, I think it's really trying to understand those people, that what can you do for them? How can you take it to the next level, right? Because if we engage and we network and we're talking and you seem cool, but there's really nothing else to that, or I didn't learn enough about you, or I didn't understand a problem you had, or, if we didn't further that conversation in the networking approach, then there's really no way I can connect with you. So I think they're two different things, but I think one, if you do networking correctly, and you have the right mindset about assisting and helping people and who you can refer them to or who you can help them with, then that connection is going to be deep. And as you flow through that relationship, it's going to get deeper and deeper. And you're both going to see the return of that friendship. And that
so I would say that you agree that relationships will get you into places that money can't buy.
100%.
Bam! That's all I got to say. Just drop the mic right there and let's go, because I mean, you can't put money on relationships. Like, you cannot put a price on relationship. There's not enough money on to put a price on it, and it's incredible. And that's a direct result of what you've got going on with Impact Social. So, how do people connect with you, Jim? How do people get connected to Impact Social? Find you? Where's the next event happening? Tell us. Because they're amazing events. Like I went to one with Ashley, and it's an incredible event.
Thank you. So The Real Jim Morris on Instagram, Jim Morris on Facebook. You can find Impact Social Events on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn as well. I'm on LinkedIn. I do a lot of networking through that. So feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, Jim Morris. Send me a request, send me a message. Would love to chat with my fellow community members, and I'm here to help. One of the things that, I've been talking to a lot of folks about is impact social events isn't just asking you to sponsor an event to provide you ROI, or helping you utilize some of our vendors and partners, whether it's for a charity or a private event. But a lot of people in their workforce are tasked with owning an event, and they have a lot of stress around that, and they panic and they don't sleep at night. So one of the things that I wanted to do to give back to the community is, if you are someone that is tasked in your corporation or your company to throw an event, you haven't thrown an event anymore, ever, reach out to me, give me a call. I can reduce some of that stress for you. I'm happy to walk you through some key factors and some things to protect you and your corporation. So, that's at free of charge, of course. If you wanted me to go a little further, we can always help you with your event, but really wanted to just give everybody that opportunity to reach out to me directly, because I do know that there is a lot of people out there that didn't sign up to do events, but they're in HR and they're tasked for a cultural event for their company, or, an employee retention initiative, or, celebrating a major milestone for their company. So feel free to reach out. I'd love to help you free of charge.
So my only question is, will the real Jim Morris please stand up? Will the real Jim Morris please stand up?
Yeah, absolutely.
If I had hair, I might have dyed it blonde.
Hey, well, Joan, great to see you.
Yeah.
Be on with you all. I had a internal commitment to be on Zoom with you. I shared some of your upcoming broadcast podcasts and wasn't able to join. So I'm so excited about being on today, and I'm thoroughly enjoying this discussion. It's great to see you, Ashley, Josh. It's always great to see you. And hello, Jim. I'm enjoying the conversation. I did want to say this to all of your points. I think Nashville, this is so great because Nashville is sort of a place where it's sort of easy to knock at the front door, but necessarily not go in. Does that make sense? Because we have such a friendly city, but we oftentimes don't get beyond that very friendly front door. And I think I love this city, but I think what you're saying is so engaging to go beyond. For whatever reasons, friendships, business, whatever collaboration. So I truly appreciate this this discussion. This is great. Kudos.
Jim, Joan helps people start the process of building out their family tree and finding out where they come from, their roots. And we got to do our podcast again, Joan, this month, our second podcast. But I just think that networking is such a beautiful skill set to have. I think it is a skill set, Jim. I mean, you got to know how to network. There's a skill in how to network, how to connect to people, and then how to connect other people together. And I think any successful individual, whether in the real estate industry, the insurance industry, the banking industry, you name it, if your industry is an industry where you are required to sell or have sales, then when you focus on relationships and really dive in to learn the skill set of networking and attracting others to be a person of interest, to where people seek you out for things, which, Jim, you're a center of influence. You're a center of influence. Like, people seek you out. Like, you provide value to people. And I think many people, when you get to that point where they say, I need Jim because Jim provides a value to me because of what Jim provides, I think that is when you're like, okay, cool. What do I want to be? A center of influence. How do I get there? WORK, self-development, podcasts, YouTube videos, reading a book, audiobooks, and building that skill set every day. Role playing. I mean, a lot of people downplay role play, but role play, I mean, you've got to have, I mean, role play is a huge part. So, I mean, it's just constant development. And I know we're running out of time, but I think you got to develop yourself every day. I mean, your skills will go cold in a matter of hours or days. If you're not building your skill set every day, you're going to get dusty.
I agree. Yeah. I think 30% of your income should go to self-development and growth.
Yeah.
Because you're your best asset. And
yeah,
as
absolutely.
an entrepreneur, you are the asset, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And
are you a liability or an asset?
We've been trying to talk Jim into the next event to be a wiffle ball game. So that's been on the table.
Let's go.
I bet you got a mean wiffle ball curveball. You just look like you were were you a pitcher when you were a kid? Yeah, you look like a pitcher. Yeah.
Yep, I was.
But you know, this was this podcast was incredible. And just since Joan's on real quick, I wanted to say I went on and did her stuff, and I found out I didn't know what my last name was for years. I thought I was French. It was French name, and it turns out that it's Norse, like I'm a Viking. So
look at that.
Yeah. So that's why I'm growing this beard. Podcast. I'm getting back to my roots.
We got a Viking on the podcast.
I just had to say that since she was on, just totally. But yeah, so what do you know? I mean, after all these years, I didn't even know what I was and what my culture was, and then wow.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's why you every morning you're sharing those videos, Ashley, and then you're out there networking so hard because I would dare to say. We is going to get you so far, French, but like them Vikings come in, they're like, take everything. I'm going to take the business. I'm going to you just beast mode, man. So I'm like, okay, Viking. I'm have to buy you. You're going to have to be a Viking for Halloween.
I didn't get the I don't know. That skipped me. I don't know what happened. You usually think of Vikings as big, giant men. The other end of that, but it is what it is. It was just really cool. So thank you. But hey, this is this podcast. I can't tell you how great this was. Informative. It was so great for Jim for you to take your time out of your busy schedule to come on with us today and share your story and what you got going on. And to me, the value in networking is infinite, right? That's in there. I can't speak enough about value of that and what you're providing with your company. And hey, folks, Jim. Not too many people will just who wants to get coffee. I mean, people just come and get coffee, right? Don't care who it is. You just want to meet folks.
That's it.
And he will return a call. He will. Trust me, if you reach out to him, he will get back to you. So Jim, once again, thank you for everything that you're doing. And we look forward to continue coming to support Impact and everything you guys have got going on over there.